Hello, hello everyone. This is Tracee Randall. I'm excited about today's lesson 2 of our Be Bold Faith series, and been really praying, asking God what He would have me to share on this second week. And I believe I've got it. What we need to walk boldly into our destiny, to step into our greatness, to walk in what I call miracle territory. What is it that we need to do? Well, I believe that God's given me this information to share with you today, and I believe that if you will listen with your heart, not just your ears, if you will just let God work and do a work inside of you, that you will take another step closer to miracle territory and walking boldly into the destiny that God has for you. And I'm always excited about that. Well, we all know that our words are extremely powerful, and we've all heard the scripture, life and death are in the power of our tongue. You know, sometimes I think as Christians, we say a scripture, but we don't really apply it, to our own lives. What if every word that we said became our reality? Would we change what we say? I think that we should and would if we really believed that scripture. The power of life and death are in our tongue. So today I'm going to teach you the power of your words and how they will help you live a life of abundance. Not just financial abundance, although that's awesome, but abundance in your marriage, in your relationships, in your business. Abundance of joy. How does that sound? Sounds awesome to me. Abundance of health. Every area of your life can be affected and is affected by your words. I'm first going to share a little bit of a story about my own grandmother, Mama. We call her Mama. Mama was one of my very first mentors. I loved my grandma with all my heart. She seemed to be so wise when I was a little girl, and she was very wise. But there was one thing about my mama that I guess I could say I didn't like. When she was in her 50s, her early 50s, my grandmother was in excruciating pain, and she lived with that pain from her 50s into her early 90s. So for over 40 years, my grandmother lived in pain. And what I would do when I was a really young girl is I would stand in front of her as she was sitting in the recliner, and I would go, "Oh, Mama, I'm so sorry you're in so much pain." And she'd look at me and she'd say, "Tracee, just wait until you're my age. You'll see it's not that easy." And even though I was young, I knew that I did not want to accept that reality for me. And I would look back at her and I would say, "Mama, please don't say that. I'm not going to be in pain when I'm your age. I'm not." And she'd say, "Oh, well, you just wait and see. When you get old, you start to hurt." And I knew my grandmother didn't mean anything evil or mean or hurtful to me, but even as a young girl, I knew that if I heard those words and I listened to those words, that was going to become my destiny, and I didn't want it. Even my small town mind knew that this did not resonate well with my spirit. I knew that what she was speaking over me could take me to places that I didn't want to go, and it made me angry. She would continue to say it, even though she didn't, she would continue to say it because she didn't understand the power of her words. Well, even as a young girl, I began to take control of my thoughts. I would say, "Mama, I'm going to be healthy when I'm your age. I am." I didn't really understand truly the power of my words even then, but I spoke health and wellness over myself for as long as I can remember. I didn't accept that as my destiny, and neither should you. So here I am, 58 years old, no pain, no medications, healthy in every area of my life, because I took control of my thoughts about that particular thing. So how does this apply to you? I'm going to share with you how this can apply to you, not just in your health, as I said earlier, but in all areas of your life, and exactly what you need to do to get there. 2015 was one of the most amazing, spectacular years of my life. It was the year I put into action what I'm about to teach you. It was in 2015 that I began to overcome some of the subconscious things that I had allowed to come into my life over the years, as a teenager and as a young adult. The self-hate. And once again, though I'm not blaming my grandmother or my mother in this, I do look back and I hear the words that they spoke over themselves, unintentionally over me, that are at the root of my self-worth or my lack of it. You've heard of generational curses, possibly, that run through families. The words that are spoken over a child are extremely powerful. Things like this: his father didn't amount to much, so he probably won't either. He'll probably end up in jail just like his father. And even though these words may not have been spoken directly to my cousin, the words were prophetic and came to pass. What generational curse are you passing on to the next generation? That will be one of your discussion questions. Prior to 2015, I had been mentored by some pretty amazing people that in the business arena, and I had begun to hear about the power of our words. And my mentors were radical about it. These mentors were abundant. They did live abundant lives financially. They did live abundant lives in their marriage and their relationships, more abundant than anyone I'd ever met. And they were radical about what I'm about to share with you. I went to seminars and workshops and meetings where they taught us about the power of our mind, the power of our words. But I never put into practice what I'm about to share with you fully until 2015. Because of what happened, I call 2015 the year that I stepped into miracle territory, and God began to reveal to me what He created me for, my purpose, my destiny. I began to walk boldly into the power that God had given me. You can have this too. So I learned about the power of our mind and the power of our words in the secular world. But by 2015, I was a strong Christian, and some of the things they were teaching me didn't align well with my spirit. I needed to know what God said and thought about it. Like I said earlier, we've all heard the scripture, the power and life and death are in the tongue. But that's usually where we stop. We don't know the rest of the verse. And this is found in Proverbs 18:21. What it actually says is this: death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. What does it mean we will eat the fruit? What are we saying? You will eat your words. You've heard that. You'll eat your words. My grandmother used to say that all the time. You'll eat your words. What if everything we said came true instantly? Would we change what we say? What if we had to eat the fruit of our words? Another great scripture is this. In Matthew 12:37, by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. Whew, that's powerful. I began to attach what God said about me, and God said in Joshua that I am strong and courageous. I began to attach my faith to those affirmations, and I coined the phrase FAITHfirmations, aligning my faith with the affirmations. And ladies, everything began to change. I had been trying to figure out what my purpose was. I was living a good life. Like many of you, like most of you, I was living a good life. But really, in truth, it was a life of mediocrity. There were some things holding me back from stepping boldly into my destiny. There were some challenges that I had that were subconscious, that had been programmed in my head because I hadn't fully taken control of my thought process. I knew that I was called to be a healer in the body. But what God began to show me is that I'm also a healer of the mind, and that part of my destiny was to help people heal from those negative things that have been programmed into their minds through the power of FAITHfirmations. God began to show me a threefold legacy. He showed me that we're called as responsible parents to leave a legacy of faith and mindset, a legacy of health in our body, and a legacy of wealth. Creating generational wealth and teaching my children how to do that for themselves. So I began to create statements over every area of my life, and I began to read them aloud multiple times a day, just like my mentors told me to do. Your subconscious mind does not know whether something you're saying is fact or fiction, and it must hear your voice speak the words and the statements. Speaking power over yourself. You know, there's so much negativity in the world. We hear things about ourselves as young children, sometimes things that we perceive that people say about us, and it gets trapped inside of our subconscious and it never goes away, and our actions are based on what our subconscious believes about ourselves. So when you say these new words out loud over and over, your subconscious mind becomes reprogrammed. So you want to say these faith formation statements over yourself every single day and multiple times per day. And the more you say them out loud, the quicker your life will begin to change. I'm actually going to challenge you to do or take a 21-day faith formation journey with me starting today. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write 10 faith formations about yourself. And these need to be things that you don't necessarily believe about yourself, things that you know inside your spirit are holding you back. Remember, your faith formations are between you and God. So ask him in your prayer time. Ask him to reveal to you what it is that's been holding you back from walking boldly in your purpose. You can write faith formations about what you want to get stronger with in your life as well. I am bold. I am confident. I am powerful. I am a leader. I am courageous. I am full of joy. I am happy. I am healthy. I am strong. There are so many faith formations. Notice I'm using the words I am. This is hugely important. Sometimes you hear them called the I am statements. The reason is because anything and everything you put after the words I am do align with your destiny. They shape your future. I am courageous. You know, so many times we spend our lives talking about what you are not. I am not. I am not good enough. I am not pretty enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not powerful enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not good enough. And we talk about what we are not. I need you to turn that thought process to what I am, and not what you necessarily believe you are, but what God says about you. In the workbook, I'm going to give you some scripture to go along with these I am statements, exactly where I find these statements in the Bible. I am bold. I am confident. I am powerful. I am a leader. I am courageous. I'm full of joy. I'm happy. I'm healthy. You know, every time I share this, I know that people will walk away from it. I speak live to women's groups, church groups, organizations, networking events all over the country. And I know that people get excited about what I say, but they walk away and they get caught up in their daily lives and they think this is just too simple. It's not going to work. Why would this work? I don't have time to do it. My time is too valuable. But if you truly believe that everything you say would become your reality, I promise you, you would change your words. But if you don't believe it, it'll never happen. You know, I'm reminded about the story of Naaman in the Bible. Many people don't know about Naaman. He's in the Old Testament. He was a powerful, powerful leader. But Naaman had leprosy. And his servant, who knew the Lord, who knew God, the one true living God, told him that if he would go to the prophet Elisha would cure his leprosy. Well, in desperation to be healed, Naaman went to the prophet, even though he didn't believe that it would work. So he went anyway. So step one is to step out in faith, even if you don't believe it yet. When he went to Elisha, he was angry when Elisha told him what to do. Listen to this. I'm going to quote from the scripture. Elisha sent a message to him, meaning Naaman, to say to him, Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be cleansed." But Naaman went away angry and said, "I thought he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, wave his hand over the spot, and cure me of my leprosy. Are not these other 2 rivers better than all the waters of Israel? Couldn't I wash in them and be cleansed?" And what Naaman was saying is, why do I need to go to the muddy Jordan River when there's cleaner, clearer waters that I could dip myself in? And why do I have to even go to the river anyway? Why do I have to do anything when, if this man is truly a prophet of God, why can't he just stand over and wave over me, wave his arms and say, "Be healed, be healed"? And why can't I just be healed that way? But that wasn't how it worked. He had to step out in faith. He had to step out even in his unbelief. And that is what God is calling us to do. Sometimes, many times, we have to step out in faith, even with unbelief, and see what happens. So he turned away and went off in a rage. Naaman's servants went to him and said, "My father, if the prophet had told you to do some great thing, would you not have done it? How much more then when he tells you, 'Wash and be cleansed'?" So Naaman went down and dipped himself in the Jordan River 7 times, as the man of God had told him, and his flesh was restored and became clean like that of a young boy. All of this story is found in 2 Kings 5, and that scripture is 5:10 through 15. So my question to you is this: are you willing to do this simple thing and believe that God will use it to begin your journey into miracle territory, to begin your journey into healing, to begin your journey into your life of abundance and walking boldly into miracle territory and claiming your birthright and standing strong and powerful on top of that mountain and saying, "I am bold, I am courageous, I am amazing"? We eat the fruit of our words. Whatever we say and think about ourselves, we eat. Our thoughts can be healthy or toxic. So if someone is in pain, so if you're in pain, begin to say, "I am healthy. I feel amazing." Now, let me give you some parameters. What you do not want to do, and this is so important, is don't use the word "not." For example, you can't say, "I am not in pain." This is so important. There's science behind it. I don't have time to go into it. But your subconscious mind does not pick up on the word "not." So it hears what your subconscious mind hears, which is what we're reprogramming, is, "I am in pain." So instead, you need to say, "I am pain-free." "I am not tired" becomes, "I am full of energy." So you have to have these positive statements, no negativity. As you say these faith affirmations, your actions begin to line up with your words. You know, habitually we say things that we just don't realize, and our brain hears what we say. You'll say, "I'm so tired today." Guess what? You're going to stay tired. "I'm always tired on Mondays." Oh my goodness, that drives me crazy. Don't say that. I want you to begin to really think about the power of your thoughts and the power of your words and take control of them. We're missing miracles every day because of our thoughts. We can't attract health, healthy people, the people that this is so key. I'm going to say it again and start over. We can't attract health, healthy people, the people that are waiting to be attracted to us, who are part of our destiny, when we're speaking negative, toxic thoughts. As I began my faith formation journey and really did it exactly as my mentors had taught me, everything began to change. Everything. So here's your assignment. I want you to write 10 faith formations about you. What areas of your life do you desire to change? What talents and gifts from last week would you like to be stronger? I am a fantastic writer. I am a gifted and talented musician. I am an amazing patient mother. Write these affirmations on note cards and put them in areas around your home. Put them on your mirrors, next to your bed, in your car, at your desk, in front of your computer, at your kitchen sink, on your kitchen table, wherever you spend time. Say them out loud whenever you see them throughout the day and as you think about it. But the two most important times that you must say these affirmations is the very first thing in the morning and right before you go to bed. Your body, your mind needs to hear your voice. So you can't just read them to yourself. You have to stand there and say them boldly, even when you don't believe them. So important. I am beautiful. I am amazing. I am powerful. I am strong. I am fearless. Remember, don't use the negative statements. Don't ever use the word not. So you have to thoughtfully think about these statements. What is it that you want to change in your life? So this is a 6-week Bible series so this is going to be a 21-day challenge. On week 6, you'll look back at your life and how dramatically it's changed because of this one simple thing. You have to step out in faith. You have to trust me that this is going to be worth your time. Just like Naaman going down to the river, murmuring under his breath, going, I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe how silly this is. I can't believe how stupid this is. But when he did it, when he was obedient and he followed the rules exactly. See, Naaman didn't dip one time in the river and stop and say, okay, that's it. He didn't dip 2 times. He didn't dip 5 times. He didn't dip 10 times in the river. He dipped exactly 7 times as the prophet of God told him to do. So I'm going to ask you to really, again, hear with your heart, not just your ears today, and know that this is of God. God is challenging you. I'm challenging you as a woman of God to take this 21-day faith formation journey with me. Who's with me? I can boldly tell you that this is your time. If you will allow it, God is going to take you on an amazing journey deep into miracle territory. And he's ready to bless you abundantly in every area of your life. Be bold. I am bold. See you next week.